What has become of this city? There used to be laws, justice, not anymore. Crime is out of control, cats are missing, and townspeople are being victimized.
Oh, hey! Who pooped on my porch?
What's going on with you? Whoa! Whoa!
Video producer Dan Crowd here, standing in for reviewer and editor Miguel Concepcion to tell you about South Park, The Fractured But Whole. In this second South Park game, published by Ubisoft, the fantasy theme of its predecessor gives way to the equally popular subject of superheroes, parodying the current state of comic book to film oversaturation we see today. This shift is complemented by the change in the combat system, which proves cerebrally satisfying, despite the juvenile sight of your main character using flatulence to defeat enemies. And when you add town exploration that awards practical character benefits, the resulting game is a delightfully fart-tinged journey that delivers satisfying gameplay and surprising absurdity in equal measure.
Well, if it ain't a cisgendered boy.
We don't take kindly to your types around here.
The Fractured But Whole story kicks off with Eric Cartman cooking up a self-serving scheme: the search for a missing cat so he can use the reward money to fund a movie franchise for his troupe of superheroes. As you once again play as the new kid, you promptly join Cartman's team, Coon and Friends, engaging in a host of bizarre stories that play fast and loose with crude humor and sensitive topics alike.
Let's just say I'm an art collector specializing in a delightfully modern and extremely confusing Asian art form known as yaoi.
This is South Park through and through, where outrageous and unpredictable plot developments contrast against the day-to-day goings-on of seemingly normal suburbanites.
The car!
You trying to get killed or something?
The game follows the franchise blueprint of lampooning pop culture and society without in-depth commentary, typified by the quote-unquote difficulty slider, where being black is supposedly the hardest setting and being white is the easiest. It's an opportunity to present something meaningful left half realised as a flyby gag. Seemingly more care was put into the game's more benign comedic touches, starting with the game title itself. The Fractured But Whole isn't a mere excuse to hide butthole in a game title. It's also a clever take on Captain America's Civil War, relevant since the game's story involves two rival superhero teams, Coon and Friends and the Freedom Pals. It's a consistent chuckle fest, though genuine laugh-out-loud moments are spread thin, which is forgivable for a playthrough that can last over 20 hours.
Get out of my head, Timmy.
Your franchise is going nowhere. Face the truth, Eric. You guys are kind of douchebags.
The Fractured But Whole employs tactics-style combat, prioritizing strategy-driven thoughtfulness over adept reflexes. The modestly sized combat grids give the false impression that only rudimentary battle planning is needed for success. In actuality, these sometimes cramped spaces force you to think carefully on how to efficiently navigate your characters around the field, ideally to capitalize on your powers.
I think I'm on the ragu!
It's a superbly balanced combat system that values smart thinking while also offering the flexibility of personal preference when choosing your character's class and abilities. While it's a stimulating challenge trying to make a great team, it's even harder to come up with a bad one. For every hero that has a potent attack that can knock back enemies, there's a buddy who can heal and buff. Another advantage is the accessibility of craftable health-restoring Mexican food. This can turn the bulk of encounters into easy victories, though the Fractured But Whole offers its share of optional encounters above your fighting weight, as measured by your squad's might level, not to mention a number of challenging boss fights.
Hey honey, you ain't ready for this bootay.
Growing your team's might is inexplicably tied to practically every bit of progress you make, whether that's wrapping up a story goal or completing the myriad of side quests assigned by the townsfolk. As you head to any objective, the various unexplored homes and businesses along the way are well peppered with crafting items and side mission collectibles. Thanks to a number of quality of life conveniences, exploring seldom feels like a chore. Accessible drawers are well marked with yellow handles, backpacks you've sifted through remain open, and when you've completed various collection missions, you're rewarded by the quest giver immediately. These benefits far outweigh the Fractured But Whole's slight annoyances, such as not knowing what attacks in battle result in friendly fire, and the tiny font of your in-game social media updates. South Park is loaded with environmental puzzles that can elicit more than a giggle depending on how a hurdle is overcome. The most challenging obstacles are surmounted by your legendary farting abilities, and friends you can call in for an immediate assist. While The Stick of Truth had its share of gassy gags, this sequel doubles down on farting as an essential multi-purpose game mechanic, powerful enough to bend space and time at your whim, proving useful in battle.
Your turn is now property of Coon and Friends.
Fractured But Whole succeeds as an interactive South Park miniseries, while effectively emulating the show's current style of adult-targeted entertainment and satirization of political correctness. It's consistently amusing and provocative, but without the edginess the series used to be known for. Both the game's combat and explorative strengths effectively bridge the many comical plot developments. It's an accomplishment that this game will entertain devoted fans, or delivering jokes that won't fly over the heads of casual viewers.
Oh no, stop. Let's just talk. Let's just talk.